Okay, I am going to make a new video just so it's a little more of a cleaner cut video for all of you, especially on Notability, so you can see the power of highlighting and organizing. So we are going to use a 3-column method. Okay, very similar to what I did in the first problem, but maybe organized a little better. And we're going to look at all 3 of our equations. And you want to pick the easiest equation with the easiest variable. I will not pick the top equation because of the 2 and the 5. I will pick the middle equation to start with because it has a coefficient with a -1 on the y. I would not pick the bottom. If I picked the bottom, I would pick the bottom because of the z, but because the middle one works, it has a coefficient of a 1 in front of that y, that's the one I'm going to pick. 3z minus 1y equals -9. I'm going to cross it off so I'm not tempted to use it again. Pick a variable to solve for. Do not pick z because z has a coefficient of 3. That would be difficult because you would have to divide by 3. Instead, pick y because it has a coefficient of 1. Subtract this 3z from each side. I would encourage you to put a little line through your z so you don't think it's a 2. Pull down the -1y, the equal sign, the -9, and the -3z. Y is not by itself, so divide by -1 on every term. This should bring back memories of when you solved for y and y equals mx plus b. Same type of process steps. -9 over -1 is +9. -3 over -1 is +3. The z hops in the back because the 3 had the z originally. Please take a color, stick with the color, highlight that. That is going to be what we put in for y every time we see a y in each of the next couple of columns. So every time I see a y, I'm going to highlight it with that pink. Now, pick another equation. It does not matter which one. The first equation is the most important. The second equation, you may as well just pick whichever one you see first. Scribble it out so you don't try to use it again. Okay, I am going to get, oops, sorry about that. I am going to take this and I'm going to put it in for this y right here. So I'm going to do 2x minus 5, parenthesis, 9 plus 3z, parenthesis, equal -11. Please notice I substituted in 9 plus 3z for y. Now I will simplify. 2x minus 45 minus 15z equals -11. That came from distributing. Now I'm going to get the 45 to the other side. I don't like the 45 on this side. I want to put it in standard form. So I will drop down the 2x, the 45's cancel, drop down the minus 15z, and -11 and 45 make 34. Now that this middle column is in standard form, there's nothing further we can do with it. I can't solve for x and I can't solve for z. Now I will go to the next equation I have not used yet. And I will take my highlighter, change it back to pink. I always go back to step 1 and get the y. Now watch the highlight because I think it's good for, especially if you're a visual learner. I'm going to put that in for that y right there. Now I'm going to write it before I zoom in too much. So take out the y, put in the binomial 9 plus 3z, close your parenthesis on the y, finish the rest of the problem. So drag down the minus z and drag down the 23. So you can see, I'm going to make this like a light green. The light green equation still exists, but instead I put in 9 plus 3z. I'll say that again because I said it quickly. The light green equation still exists, but I took out the y and I put in 9 plus 3z. Just like in the middle column, the orange equation still existed. I simply put in the y's for it and simplified it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and keep simplifying over here on the right. I'm going to zoom in. So it's 3x plus 45 when you distribute, plus 15z when you distribute, minus z equals 23. I would highly encourage you to write your 2's like this and to write your z's like this. Combine your like terms. Let's simplify this. So I see I can make the 15z and the minus 1z into 14z. That's called combining your like terms, simplifying. Now, I don't like where this 45 is, so we're going to subtract it from both sides of the equation. Bring down your 3x. The 45's cancel. Bring down your 14z, bring down your equals, and negative 23 and, or excuse me, 23 and negative 45 make negative 22. Remember, that is still the green equation. Now what I'm going to do, these are both in standard form. Neither one of them allowed me to solve for a variable. So I'm going to take my middle column, this squiggly line, and I'm going to put it underneath my other one. Oops. If you like to draw arrows, it's going right here. So in other words, I'm putting my orange equation from the middle column under my green equation from the third column. It's now time to eliminate. You can use the trick that we learned. If you want to get rid of the x's, you put the 2 up top, the 3 down below, and check their signs. You have to have, of these 4 numbers, you have to have either 3 positives and 1 negative, or 3 negatives and 1 positive. In this case, I'm going to do 3 positives and 1 negative. You can either change the 2 at the top or the 3 on the bottom. This came from chapter 3, so this is elimination. We're going back to something you've already learned. I'm now going to write my results in red. That way you know something new is happening. So I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put my answers right below. Negative 6x minus 28z equals positive 44. Positive 6x minus 45z equals 3 times 34 is 90 plus 12, 102. You should remember from chapter 3, this is called elimination because those are eliminated. This makes negative 73. Be careful with your signs. In a calculator, you would do negative 28 minus 45. And 44 with 102 makes 146. That's very convenient. I did make these like integer numbers, like your number is not going to be a decimal. I did that just, I thought that would be good while we're warming up to these problems. There's one in your homework that is not pretty. Divide by negative 73 to solve. Z is negative 2. I made it a pretty answer on purpose. So when we state our final answers, you should put x, then y, then z. So I'm going to put a negative 2 in the z part. So the way that we arrange this, so the way that we like to teach this is you start at your first column, you work your way over, you work your way down, then you work your way back around. I'll do that again. You start in the first column, you work your way over, you work your way down, then you make your way back around. Now here's what I mean by making your way back around. You see your z? You're going to put it in for that z. So I'm going to do 2x minus 15 times negative 2 equals 34. 2x, negative 15, and negative 2 is positive 30 equals 34. 2x, because you're going to subtract 30 now. I'm doing this quickly. If you need to pause the video, in fact, maybe you should pause the video and try solving for yourself. Divide by 2. X is 2. So I had to multiply 15 and 2. I had to take the 30 to the other side. I had to divide by 2. And you can see, once you get one answer, the rest is smooth sailing. Okay, so I worked my way over, I worked my way down, now I'm working my way back around. So I'm going to go back and put the z and the x into the first column, if I can. Let's do that. So I have y equals 9 plus 3z. Oh, so there's no x to worry about in this one, but z is -2, so I can put in that. So I put in z, okay? There was no x to worry about. Sometimes there might be. That's okay if there is. Just that's 9 minus 6. You can also just put that in your calculator one step. You don't need to do each step individually. Your calculator can handle that. So y is 3. Okay. I'm hoping that was beneficial for me to show you how like I work with the colors and the highlighting inside of Notability. I believe I am going to finish the lesson just by showing what the answers to the other problems are. So go ahead and continue through whatever I have listed there.